have some extremely serious news. Over the past 36 hours, there have been 3 mass shootings in 3 separate states that you need to know about. In Arizona, at a Lowe's, 3 people were injured. 1 person was killed in a mass shooting overnight. In Southwest Houston, according to ABC 13, 5 people were injured and 1 person was killed in a mass shooting in Southwest Houston. And now, according to the Chicago Sun-Times, 1 person was killed and 8 others wounded in multiple shootings during a, quote, teen takeover in the Loop after a tree lighting ceremony this weekend in Chicago. That's several people killed, more than a dozen injured in one weekend of shootings from Arizona to Texas to Chicago. And unfortunately, in our nation, we've become way too desensitized to this. These aren't even headlines anymore because it's become so normal that we see mass shooting after mass shooting after mass shooting. But as a journalist, it's something I refuse to normalize. Spread the word so more people know. Follow along, stay up to date on all the news that you need to know about.
First and foremost, before we get started, I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Quadash, and double honors to those great millstone while lunch's truth, and also to those elect that are scattered abroad. I'd like to say, Shalom. Come back here today with another great and powerful lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And the title of today's lesson is The Days Are Evil, Mass Shooting Across America. So I'd like to say Shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope this will help you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So we see in the opening clip about this opening clip by Aaron, I think his name Aaron Parrish. He's talking about that these mass shootings that happened within 36 hours, and also across several states, Phoenix, Arizona, Chicago, Illinois, also Houston, Texas. So we're seeing these things are constantly happening in our own backyard, but we know that they're not getting exposure. It's just by design. It had just been manufactured. But one thing about it, we know that it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So we constantly seeing these mass shootings. Right now, these things are coming very normal, but we know that they're not normal. We know that we're living in end time, real time, and also the Lord's constantly bringing forth judgment. Do anyone perish being innocent? So the Lord's bringing forth that judgment each and every day, and a lot of our people are constantly being being more evil and evil. More evil each and every day. And one thing about it, don't anyone perish being innocent? No. The Lord's constantly bringing forth that judgment like we have never seen before. First, my judgment will start at the house of Israel, because we're seeing all sorts of wickedness at its highest. But one thing about it, the Lord is getting ready to bring forth that judgment like we have never seen before. So now, I start here first. Probably just read the title. We might get a few of the article. Let's see here. It says here, ABC 7, the news article here. That's the first one I got. It said teens unalive, said 8 injured in Loop shooting, Chicago official says. So we seeing right here, this is happening, they were doing some type of ceremony, Christmas lighting ceremony. But the Lord said, I hate your feast days. So let's get a little bit of this here. It says here, Chicago police said 7 teens ranging in the age from 13 to 17 were shot in the Loop Friday night. So a separate shooting nearby left a teen unalive and a man injured, officials said city officials and people who want to celebrate the holidays downtown are now speaking out. Said more large crowds are expected in downtown Chicago through the rest of the year as many people begin to celebrate the holiday season now along with the festivities moved. Said there are some concerns about safety. So now You see it right now, people getting in these what you call holiday festivity. But one thing about it, the Lord ain't giving a damn about none of that. You're not seeking the Lord, you're seeking death. And also the Lord said, the enmity of this world, the friendship of this world is enmity, enemy of Yahweh Ba'ashim Abishai. Lord ain't giving a damn about this world. You're not seeking him, you're seeking death. And one thing about it, Lord ain't giving a damn about these pagan holidays. You know what I'm saying? The Lord only want you to do is to repent, and return to him. If you're part of the election. So we're seeing right now that these things are constantly picking up. We're seeing mass shooting behind mass shooting. We're seeing blood touching blood. We're seeing the love of many. It's waxing colder and colder. And also the Lord, the spirit of vengeance is working left and right through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Abishai. The Lord's calling these things to happen, and they're going to constantly pick up. Because we are right upon judgment. And also the Lord is visiting the earth that he created. So now, let's go here. We're gonna go back with some more videos. Let's go to this one here about Arizona. It says here, Phoenix 10. Let's get this one right quick. It said Phoenix 10. We're just gonna read the title. It said child man unalive following South Phoenix shooting. So that's we're gonna get this title. So we're seeing the things right here in our own backyard, all sorts of violence. Seeing blood touching blood. We're seeing the love and many is waxing cold. People are very prideful. People are very evil. People are very something else I want to say. People are very covetous. People are despisers of the words of Yahweh Ba'ashim Abishai. Very wicked. You know what I'm saying? Very, they love evil and they hate the good. So that's where we at right now. So we constantly seeing these things are constantly picking up left and right. A lot of people right now, are standing in a lot. We seeing it left and right. So let's go to this one here. And so this happened right here in Arizona. So within 36 hours. So let's go to this one by Newsbreak. Houston 11 by Newsbreak here. Let's get this one here. We'll pull up. This one here said violent night in Houston. Said 4 separate shootings. Said 2 deadly. Police searching for suspect. Let's get a little bit more. It said police are investigating 4 shootings across Houston, 2 unalivings, and one that left a 70-year-old man critically injured after a robbery outside of Walmart. So we seeing that things are running very rampant. You know what I'm saying? We seeing that the wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth and the hurtful works off of field. So we seeing right now that that's what happening. We living in a very evil time. We got to be more circumspect, redeeming time wisely, knowing what the will of the Lord is, because right now these things are going to constantly pick up Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation, the MOTB, and also our salvation is very close at hand. And once again, the Lord is visiting the earth that he created, and also the Lord is bringing forth judgment. First, my judgment will start at the house of Israel. So now, let's get this quick precept. Let's go here. Then I got a few more videos to bring out with more edification. Let's get this one here. It says here, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. So one thing about it, when you go into that word circle, mean round, and spec mean to look around. That's what we got to do. You got to know what time that we're living in. We got to consider the signs of the time. You know what I'm saying? We got to have a discernment what's going on around us, knowing the people that we're dealing with, knowing the environment that we're dealing with, and also the signs of the time. And a lot of our people, right now, they're stuck on what's stupid. Let's read this in the NLT. It says, so be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, said, but like those who are wise. So one thing about who are wise are the true believers of Yahweh Ba'ashim Abishai, starting with the 144 the prophets, and also the great multitude, the true believers of Yahweh Ba'ashim Abishai. We know what time that we're living in. It said, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. You know, we seeing that the days are evil. Everything that's going on around us. You know, people that love a minute is waxing cold. People avoid more evil than ever that we've seen before. You know, we seeing mass shooting. We seeing that a lot of great division. You know, we seeing that mothers and daughters against one another. We seeing sons and fathers against each other, and vice versa. We're seeing these things constantly picking up because the Lord is causing these things to happen. There's no respect of person. No one perish being innocent. That's where we at right now. The days are evil. You know what I'm saying? We got to seek the Lord while he can be found and knowing the will of the Lord. Verse 17 says, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. You got to understand what the will of the Lord is. You know, to prophesy, say before, you know what I'm saying, warn the people, you know what I'm saying, do what is righteous, do what is right in the sight of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. Gird up your loin, get your house in order, let go of the modern thoughts, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, examine yourself, because we are living in the end time, real time. We're living in the last day, whether you believe it or not, whether you will hear or whether you will forbear. So now, let's go here, before we start today's video, let's go here to Matthew's. Let's go here to Matthew chapter 24 and verse 12. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 12. And it reads that, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So right now we're seeing right that the love of many is waxing colder each and every day. We're seeing that, you know, that the wickedness is at its greatest. It's increasing all across the globe. We're seeing that a lot of people had that that covering of the world, but not of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. We're seeing right now, you know, wickedness is constantly increasing, iniquity, abomination, all sorts of things that is displeasing to Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. When you go to that word cold, it goes into psycho. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of people right now are psycho. You know what I'm saying? Very evil, very wicked. You know what I'm saying? Very covetous, very prideful, you know, that do thy will spirit, and the Lord is going to destroy. There's no respect of person. Verse 13 said, but he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. So that's what we got to do. We got to endure all this wickedness. We got to do all this things that's going on all around us. You know what I'm saying? You know, the same that endure what is the elect. The same that, you know, that endure to the end is the elect. Let's read this once again. It says, but the same there shall that endure to the end, the elect, the same shall be saved, the elect, you know, the true believers of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. So now, let's go to the last few videos, and after the video, we'll start the lesson, and I hope that you will get edified. Let's go here. Let's start here first. Let's go here, this one right here.
Ceremony that happened here in Chicago's downtown and brought... A 14-year-old boy was killed, and 8 other people were injured in shootings Friday night in downtown Chicago during holiday festivities. Chicago police said officers responded to a report of a shooting in the 100 block of South Dearborn Street around 10:40 p.m., where they found 2 victims struck by gunfire. The 14-year-old boy, who had been shot multiple times, was taken to the hospital and pronounced dead. The second victim, an 18-year-old man with a gunshot wound to the leg, was transported to the hospital in serious condition. Less than an hour earlier, around 9:50 p.m., officers on patrol in the 100 block of North State Street noticed a large crowd gathered near the Chicago Theater, police said. Officers heard gunshots and the crowd immediately dispersed, authorities stated. Officers rushed to the scene and discovered 7 people who had been shot. No suspects have been arrested in either shooting, according to Chicago police. The gunfire erupted on an especially busy night downtown, as the city was holding its annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony. Detectives are currently investigating the circumstances that led to the incidents.
We are learning new information tonight regarding a deadly shooting in South Phoenix near 19th Avenue and Baseline. Police say 1 person is dead and 2 others, including a child, are in critical condition.
A Phoenix father who witnessed an unspeakable tragedy, lighting candles for the 4 victims of senseless violence. At 2:45 Saturday afternoon, he and several others saw a man get out of a silver Dodge sedan, engage in a fight with the driver of a white SUV. That fight escalating within seconds.
The individual, adult male that was in that passenger car, began shooting into the SUV. Multiple rounds were fired, and from that shooting itself, the adult male driver of the SUV was shot, struck, and has been pronounced deceased here on scene.
A woman in the passenger seat of the white SUV also shot. 2 children in the back seat struck by gunfire too.
We saw a woman screaming. She had an infant in her arms. She had a child maybe 4 to 5 years old in the other hand, and she's screaming, "My baby."
Back to our breaking news now, where a woman is dead and 5 others are hurt after gunfire erupted during a large gathering in southwest Houston. The shots rang out overnight at an event venue off Vandalia Way. That's where we find KHOU 11's Michelle Choi. She joins us live with the very latest details. Michelle, good morning. What are you learning so far from investigators?
Hey there, Trayson. Well, hours later, this is still a very active scene. You can see behind me. I can tell you Houston police are here. Homicide detectives are still here. There was also a large gathering of people at the entrance of this property who are friends and family of the victims. I did have a chance to talk to them briefly. They asked me not show their faces, but as you might imagine, they are waiting for more answers. Desperate. They did share with me that the large gathering that happened last night were actually different groups of trail riders who got together for a dance party when gunfire erupted. So let me kind of give you what we're seeing here. Further down this dirt path is a property called Rancho El Dorado. It's an event venue here off Vandalia Way, which also appears to be functioning as a working ranch. Here's what we know so far about the deadly shooting. Officers were called out here just before 2 a.m. When they arrived, police say they found 6 people shot. 5 victims, both men and women, were rushed to the hospitals or self-transported. A woman sadly died here at the scene. Investigators believe the gunfire started after some kind of argument broke out between at least 2 people, possibly more.
We have 1 person detained who we believe at this time may be the person of interest. As I stated earlier, the information I provide is preliminary. The scene is still ongoing. Homicide is on the scene, and we're still talking to the witnesses and gathering any additional information.
Yeah, and that's why HPD homicide detectives have been out here for hours interviewing witnesses who were at the party. At last check, investigators were still working to recover any weapons and determine whether more shooters were involved. Now, back out here live, it is now 9:10. You can see, again, this is still an active scene many hours later. We have not yet seen the medical examiner arrive, so we understand that detectives are waiting for that to happen as well. Right now, police haven't released the ages or conditions of the 5 survivors, and they are urging, of course, anyone who attended this event last night to reach out to Crime Stoppers or Houston police if they have any additional information or videos. We, of course, will stay on top of this story and bring you updates as we learn more. Back to you.
So now let's go here. We'll start here first in Zephaniah. Let's start here first in Zephaniah. We're seeing that the Lord's constantly bringing forth judgment, each and every day, Let's go here to Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 5. Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 5. Quick, let's do the spirit and the power of Yahweh Hashem Abishai, and I hope that you will get edified. It says, Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 5 says, the just Lord is in the midst of thereof. Say, he will not do iniquity. Every morning doeth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. So right here, the Lord's constantly bringing forth judgment each and every day. We seeing it, left and right, love and mercy, waxing cold. We seeing the people very coveted, very prideful, because everyone is standing in their lot. So that's reading NLT. It said, but the Lord is still there in the city. So, and he does no wrong. Day by day, he hands down judgment, and he does not fail. But the wicked know no shame. Who is the wicked? starting with what? These heathen nations, and also these 2/3, that's siding with this wicked red devil, so the Lord's bringing forth his judgment. A lot of people seeing things, happening left and right, why did this happen, why did that happen? Nothing is going back the same because the Lord is bringing the house down because he getting ready to usher in the kingdom of heaven that dwells in right. And also where it says here in Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 5 in the KJV, he said, the just Lord is in the midst thereof. Say, he will not do iniquity every morning, do as he bring forth his judgment. To light he faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. To talk about the 2/3. And also the just is what is the elect. You know what I'm saying? The just Lord. You know what I'm saying? We are all just through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Abishai. Hope I ain't confused nobody on that. You know what I'm saying? The just Lord. You know what I'm saying? Is in the midst thereof. What? That what Israel of the Most High. So you can understand a little bit more. So we see it right now. The Lord's constantly bringing that judgment left and right. Let's go here to Salakia. Let's go here to First Peter chapter 4 and verse 17. Because the Lord's judgment is starting first at the house of Israel. Because we see the Lord's going to get his house in order. And then he's going to deal with these heathen nations and also these 2/3. He's dealing with them right now. It says here, First Peter chapter 4 and verse 17, it said, for the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of the Almighty. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel? You getting ready to be totally destroyed. So that's what we constantly seeing. The Lord's bringing forth that judgment like we have never seen before. That's what we constantly seeing these mass shootings. Not only Israel, you're seeing the Edomites doing a lot of these mass shootings, most of the mass shootings. So we're seeing the Lord's bringing forth this judgment. He set things right back in order right before our eyes. Just reading the NLT, said, for the time has come for judgment, and said it must begin with the Lord's household. Saying, if judgment begins with us, what terrible fate awaits those who have never obeyed the Almighty. Good news, the gospel, this word. So right now we're seeing the Lord, he's gonna get his house in order first. And after that, he's going into these heathen nations, also these 2/3. You getting ready to get your mind right. We're seeing right now the Lord is constantly bringing that judgment, that just Lord, bringing forth judgment every day. That's what he's doing. So you can get an understanding of it. So let's go here to the mindset how people are living right now. Let's go here to 2 Timothy. Let's go here to 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter, let's see here. 2 Timothy chapter 3. 2 Timothy chapter 3. Let's start up at verse 1. It says here, this know also that in the last days perilous time shall come. So right now we're living in the last days, real time. And also we're going to know the mindset of the people, how they're living in this time of wicked time of trouble. So that's why the Lord said, come out of my people. This is not your rest. So this is the mindset of our people, how they're living right to this day. It says, for men shall be lovers of their own self, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to the parents, saying unthankful, unholy. Says verse 3 said, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accuser, incontinence, fierce, despisers of those that are good. Verse 4 says, traitors, heady, high-minded, said lovers of pleasures more than lovers of Yahweh Ba'ashem Abishai. Verse 5 said, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. So that's what we constantly warn you about right here. We seeing that the Lord is comes to bring forth that judgment. People are very lovers of themselves. Boasters, proud, blasphemer, disobedient. To their parents and unthankful. That's what we constantly seeing left and right. They're the truth are. This are their mindset. And also their truth breakers. Accuser, incontinence, fierce, and despiser of the words of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. Traitors, heady, high-minded. And pleasures are more than lovers of the Almighty. They don't love the Almighty. They don't love the prophets. They despise it. They turn their back on Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. We're here, man. These things are right before us. Let's drop down to verse 12. It said, yea, and all that will live godly in the Hamashiach Yahweh shall suffer persecution. Who is that? The true believers of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai, the prophet, and also start with that great multitude, the true believers of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. You're going to suffer persecution. We're seeing that, they constantly bucking up against this truth. We don't give a damn, even in death. The Lord said he would give us a crown of life. So, we know that great persecution is coming. We know that famine of the word is coming. Also, we know that judgment is coming like we've never seen before. Verse 13 said, but evil men and seducer shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. So that's exactly what's happening. We're seeing a lot of people being deceived. And being deceived and deceiving one another. But it's all through the spirit and the power of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. We're seeing these evil times are right upon us. We're seeing, the sense of normalcy is out the door. Nothing is going back the same. We're seeing the people right now is doing all sorts of wickedness because they don't have that covenant of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. They have the covenant of this world. When you go to James chapter 4 and verse 4, let's go there right quick. Get that because, it's enemy. I've been butchering. Might well go to it. 4 and verse 4. It said, ye adulterers, and you adulteress, said, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enemy with the Almighty Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. So whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is an enemy of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. So that's plain and simple. So a lot of people, they are making all sorts of wickedness with this world, all sorts of abomination. The Lord said, you getting along here, you loving here. If you're not ready to rule, if you're not ready to be delivered, you get ready to die here. You're an enemy of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. You're an enemy of the state. That's what we constantly warning you left and right. We're here, it is at the door. So we're going to close it out right there. The title of the day lesson, once again, is The Days Are Evil. Said mass shooting across America. So I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rikah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom, Shalom.